Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Healthify Me Life. I am Dr. Priyanka Marakini. Today, we are going to talk about the top 5 myths about carbs, and we will bust it. Let us firstly know certain things about what we hear around, right? Anybody who wants to lose weight or get into fitness or lose fat, firstly will tell you that you cannot eat rice, you cannot eat rotis, you should stop eating carbohydrates. That's the first thing what we hear these days. But let me tell you something. There are 6 nutrients which is important for us, and all the 6 nutrients are very necessary to be consumed. We should be definitely balancing them out. I would not say that you should directly eat any of the nutrient all of a sudden like that. So if you see any dietitian prescribing any diet plan, it will definitely have higher percentage of protein probably compared to carbohydrate, as all of a sudden if you look at the diet chart. But there are calculations behind it. There are definitely the number of grams of carbohydrates, number of grams of protein, and etc. will have to be followed. So now let me tell you something which is very important. You should not stop eating your carbohydrates. And it's a good news for somebody who really wants to lose weight and thinking, how will I live without eating rice? Definitely you can eat rice, you can eat rotis. So first myth that I already spoke about is carbs will make you gain weight or carbs will make you fat. Is it really true? I would say no, definitely not. But the combination of your carbohydrate and your protein and your fiber is very important to be maintained on a well balanced note. So let us understand about carbohydrates. Before that, let me welcome people who have joined me. This is Healthify Me Life, and I am Dr. Priyanka, helping you with understanding carbohydrates and the myths busted. So I was talking about carbs will make you fat. There are 2 types of carbohydrates which you have to really get into the basics. So complex carbohydrate and simple carbohydrate. So what is simple carbohydrate? Simple, as the term indicates, they are very easy to be digested and absorbed by the body, and hence the name simple. So it suddenly raises your blood sugar, it gets digested very fast, so it is more likely to get you hungry or leave you with hunger pang for a longer duration. So as a result of that, you would end up overeating, probably because of which you will not be able to lose weight. Second is complex carbohydrate. As the name says, complex, it is more difficult to digest. The body requires a lot of time to digest the complex carbohydrate, and hence it keeps you full for a longer time, and it also helps you control your overall day's calorie consumption. So now what are simple and what are complex carbohydrate examples? So in simple terms, simple carbohydrates are sugar, polished grains, bakery products, maida, cornstarch, all these things. Biscuits and chocolates of course will come under simple carbohydrate. The complex carbohydrates examples are whole grain in easy terms. Whole grain is your whole wheat, unpolished rice, millets, whole wheat pasta, and these things come under your complex carbohydrates. Let me pick up some questions for you before I go on to the next myth. Ruchika is saying, do carbs produce a lot of uric acid? Hi Ruchika. So firstly, uric acid is an end product of protein metabolism and not carbohydrate. So eating carbohydrate has nothing to do with amount of your uric acid levels in your body. There is next question from Om. Hi Om. Potato can be as good source of carbohydrates. Yes, potato or any underground vegetables or roots and tubers are good source of starch. They are simple starch, but they are complex in another hand. So they are combination of simple as well as complex carbohydrate. So if you decide the quantity of consumption, definitely potatoes can be taken as your carbohydrate intake. Shreya is asking me, what about fruit carbohydrates? Hi Shreya. So fruit contains carbohydrate because they contain fructose. If you break down the carbohydrate, the simplest form has multiple options, I mean multiple variations in it. So fructose is also one of the carbohydrates. So you can definitely have the fruit carbohydrate because they also come with fiber. So when there is fiber, we are going to talk about that point in detail in the next point. When there is fiber along with any food that you consume, it is more likely to keep your body full for a longer duration, of course, because fiber takes longer time to digest, and it will also add on to your total carbohydrate and not only the simple carbohydrates. Let me take one more question and then move on. Payal is asking me white rice or brown rice. Of course brown rice, Payal, because coming back to the point what I was talking about, simple and complex carbohydrate. White rice is an example for simple carbohydrate and brown rice an example for complex carbohydrate. White rice will get digested very fast. Brown rice will take a little longer time to digest comparatively. White rice will make you feel full with little larger quantity, and brown rice will have lesser quantity. It is sufficient for you to make you feel full faster because of the fiber content. Now, before I pick up other questions, let me talk about the next point about the myth. This one more common myth what we hear is proteins are better than carbohydrate. This is definitely not true. As I told you, all the 6 nutrients are very important and they play a very major role in balancing the nutrient and for your health. Protein is also important, carbohydrate is also important. So now actually if you have to understand in deep, carbohydrate is very important for a protein absorption. So if you eat protein, if you're looking for building muscle or losing weight and somebody tells you that you have to eat more protein and don't eat carbohydrate, the body will not get that direct source of energy, and the body has to be relying on your protein for direct source of energy. That means the energy bearing action will not be there. So your protein, if your body has to absorb, there should be carbohydrate present in it. Now coming down to the next question, Khushi is asking me about what digestible forms of carbs come in. I did not really get your question, Khushi. If you could rephrase your question, I would be happy to answer it. Govind is asking me about, hi ma'am, so for weight loss, carb intake is good or bad? Also, how to point out bad carbs? Okay, definitely carbohydrate is very important. So coming to the next myth, I would combine this with Govind's question that coming down to the next question, following low carb diet is good for weight loss, or if you're looking to lose fat, you should go on a low carb diet. But it is not true. So what will happen when you go on a low carb diet? So you will end up having lowered energy through the day, you will have dizziness, you will have weakness. It will also impact on your exercise intensity or the amount of exercise that you put in across. Your energy level will go lower, so the effectiveness of your exercise will be hampered. So it is very important to eat carbohydrate even if you're trying to lose weight. So coming to Govind's question again, so for weight loss, carb intake is good or bad? Definitely it is good. And how to point out the bad carb? Avoid taking all bakery products, avoid taking biscuits, do not go in for anything which is made of refined flour probably, and white rice, anything which has to do with polished products, maida in simple words, ready to make food, easy to make food. These are all mostly towards simple carbohydrate, and avoiding these things will help you avoid simple carbohydrates. Now Rashmi is asking something. Hi Rashmi, should be the ratio of carbohydrate to protein in order to lose weight? What should be the ratio of carbohydrate to protein in order to lose weight? Since it is believed that low carb high protein diet is definitely beneficial to losing weight. Of course, this is a common question that I do also get from a lot of my clients. Okay, so the ratio is depending on your BMI level. So firstly we analyze where do you stand with respect to your BMI, that is your height and weight ratio, and how many kilos that you're supposed to be losing. So on an average, out of the total calorie consumption, about 55 to 60% should come from carbohydrate, and about 15 to 20% should come from protein. So now, after deciding upon how much calorie one should take, then we divide it upon how much percentage of carbohydrate, how much percentage of protein. You're welcome, Govind. So now Rashmi is asking me again, should we consume low carbs at night, and if so, why? I would say yes, you can go on a low carb at night. Reason being, carbohydrate provides you instant energy. So when in the evening of the day or end of the day, as we all know, our activity kind of reduces by the end of the day, and then we go to sleep. When we are awake, the metabolic rate is on a higher side. When we are sleeping, the metabolic rate is on the lower side. So end of the day, when you are going to be eating your dinner and then relaxing and then going to bed, you do not require so much of instant energy. That's why it is suggested to go slightly lower on your carbohydrate in the dinner. So it doesn't mean that you should go off carbohydrate. I mean, you should stop eating your carbohydrate at dinner. You can definitely have a lower percentage of carb in that particular meal and increase your fiber and your protein percentage, so that it keeps you full for a little longer time until you sleep and you don't get that hunger pangs again. Now let us come down to the next myth I would want to bust here. It is better to eat carbs in the morning only, and you should not be eating your carbs later on the day. It relates to Rashmi's question again here. It is the most common mistake what people do, that you should not eat carbs after your breakfast. But if you see the activity level, of course breakfast should be the heaviest meal of the day, but after breakfast till we sleep, if we see the activity level, it is quite on the higher side. So if you go low on carbohydrate through the next whatever meal that you are eating, you will end up having lowered energy, you will have drowsy feeling, you will have low mood, and it will all affect on your hunger pangs. Of course, you will end up overeating the last meal of the day, that is the dinner. So what will happen when your dinner is on the high side? As I told you, you do not require so much calories or carbohydrate in the dinner. You will end up loading on the extra calories as fat in the body over a period of time. Carbohydrate in small meals, combination of carbohydrate, protein, fat throughout the day, it makes a lot of difference in digestion, metabolism, your overall feeling of fullness, and you get better control on your intake. So you are able to decide how much you're supposed to be eating, when you're supposed to be eating, and the wrong eating or binge eating or random eating kind of reduces. Now there is a next question. Urmi is asking what to eat instead of white rice. Okay, so you can go in for brown rice, but if you think brown rice takes a little longer time to cook, I totally understand. It is a kind of a hassle for us to make sure that the white rice and brown rice combination. So you can go in for millets these days. Millets, if you understand, all your foxtail millet, porso millet, kodo millet, there are variety of millets available. Of course, the texture doesn't match your white rice. You may not really feel that you're eating rice, but you can have a little closer variation to your white rice. So what is the difference between millets and white rice is, millets are much more higher on the fiber compared to white rice. Because white rice is polished, it has almost zero fiber. Millets has higher amount of fiber comparatively. So the quantity of intake kind of reduces, and hence the calories and hence the feeling of fullness. You can also go in for wheat. You can go in for whole wheat, or you can go in for broken wheat. Both are a good substitute for your white rice. So Jitin is asking me a question. What is the ideal amount of carbs one must have, an adult must have? As I told you, after calculating your calorie consumption, that is based upon your BMI, activity and goal, about 50 to 55 or up to 60% of the calorie consumption should come from carbohydrate. So Nikhil is asking me a question, what is carb loading? Okay, so carb loading is generally made, it's useful in long run or any activity which requires multiple hours of exertion, wherein preparing your body to get into the mode of energy depletion, we plan a carb loading the few days prior to your activity. For example, if a person is running a full marathon, that is 42 kilometers a person is running, that means the body should be capable to run that long distance. It is easily about 3 to 4, so the body should be able to generate energy for longer enough time. So when you have a high carbohydrate intake couple of days prior to the run, your body is in a better position to generate the energy. So in scientific way, there will be glycogen store will increase. The body will have a instant energy store in the form of glycogen, and when there is need, the body will produce it as glucose. Okay, so the next myth that I would want to, the last that I would want to come here is all carbs are the same. So go off carbs if you're wanting to lose weight or lose fat. Stop eating carbs. So again, it comes back to the same point what we have been discussing, that all carbohydrates are not same. Simple and complex carbohydrate definitely play a major role and they need to be understood. And also fiber comes along with your carbohydrate. For example, you might, those who have been regularly logging your meals in the app might have noticed that you log probably chickpea and it has higher amount of carbohydrate, and you probably would have been thinking that chickpea is a protein source and when I log it, it increases my carbohydrate. How does that relate now? So fiber is also adding on to your carbohydrate, but fiber cannot be broken down into sugar. So it does not add on to your carbohydrate absorption in the body. So do not worry just looking at the overall carbohydrate and don't get tensed about it. It all requires to get into a mindset that the right source of carbohydrate is very, very necessary for the body to give you that expected result, probably fat loss, weight loss, or whatever you're looking at. The body should get into that mode of getting the right amount of energy. Neeraj Seth is asking me, my carb keeps on coming on red in the app. Okay. Now you have to understand, Neeraj, when you set your goal, when you set your weight, when you set your current BMI in the app kind of gives you the calorie requirement, and then the carbohydrate, protein, fat and fiber is broken down and given in grams to you. So what happens when you log in any meal? So it may or may not be simple carbohydrate. It will contain fiber because we are not calculating the net carbs in the app. So we are calculating the overall carbs in the app. So it says, say for example, the app is saying 220 grams is your carbohydrate budget. Of course, when you are meeting up to 220 grams or you're going up above 225 grams, the app will show it is red because the number has crossed. But you don't have to worry about it. Just see that what are the source of carbs that you have eaten, and you don't go on overboard on eating these simple carbohydrate. Excess amount of white rice, excess amount of bakery product, excess fruits or juices, canned products, these are all bad for you. So if you have done your analysis part or check with your coach if you have eaten right, then you can go ahead with the same. Many are asking me for diet plan. Diet plan cannot be generally given to anybody. It needs to be customized. So you can get onto the app, you can get in touch with your nutritionist and get your diet plan customized for your goal, your requirement and your likes and dislikes. That will definitely give you the better results. So these are the top 5 myths that I wanted to talk about today, and I have given you a fair idea about carbohydrate. And if you have more questions, you can please drop down below in the comment section, and I will personally answer those to you so that I can clear your doubts. Herewith, I am Dr. Priyanka signing off. Until next time, see you.